What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and we're here to review Daredevil Reborn, Episode 4. Thank you for stopping in. I hope that we can earn your subscription today at Tully Television. The march to 500 subscribers continues. Like, comment, share, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. But let's get into it. Let's get into Daredevil Reborn, Episode 4, where we get the first appearance of Frank Castle in the season. But there's a few things that I want to go over before that happens. Um, I want to talk about Wilson. Wilson. Hey, Mr. Wilson. Wilson Fisk, the mayor of New York, right? He is trying his best to be the guy trying to do the right thing as far as not getting crazy, not getting, not going back to his old ways, so to speak. And the thing is, when he was the kingpin, the leader of the family, so to speak, of all the families, when he spoke, things got done. They were manifested immediately as soon as he wanted something done. He's not used to the bureaucracy of government. You know what I mean? The red tape. And you can tell that it's clearly getting to him. The reason why he wanted Red Hook crime-free, so to speak, was he wanted to... It's called gentrification. It's called cleaning it up. However you slice and dice it from your point of view, he wanted to change that area to a swanky place, so to speak, where he can make a ton of money off of it, him and his people. And he bought, important people to try to show off a small model of what he was looking for. And he was shot down, and the kingpin is not used to being shot down, even if it's done in a polite way. And you can kind of see that it's straining on him a little bit. We also see him and Vanessa throughout the episode seem to be getting a little bit closer again with their body language, with how they're speaking, where they're sitting in conjunction with each other. And one of the things Vanessa brings up is that she feels like he's been mad about this guy Adam, who she had slept with. And he tries to play it off like it's not about that. However, we do see where he's getting his bruised knuckles from. At one point in the episode, we see him withdrawing to some sort of abandoned basement or bunker of some sorts, where he passes the picture of the painting of the White Rabbit that was stained with his blood during his last interaction with Daredevil, that fight that happened back on the Netflix show. And there's a nice fancy meal made, and he's starting to eat and everything. And there's Adam, locked up in a cage, obviously for months on end, it looks like. And he's begging Wilson for food, and Wilson's just sitting there eating his nice little meal, his rigatoni or something. It looked like some sort of nice pasta dish. Could have been McDonald's for all anyone would have mattered, I guess. Just the fact that we know now what Wilson has been doing with Adam locked up away. He's probably been torturing him, beating him, starving him. And so we see that even though Wilson is trying to change his ways in some regards, that his father's words are still in his head about when taking power, keep kicking him, is probably what keeps ringing in Wilson's head about people who screwed him over. And touching another man's wife is especially the kingpin's wife. What did you think was going to happen? You know what I mean? So we see also Wilson dealing with a leak that happened through his worker, who happens to be Michael Gandolfini, which I didn't really realize until recently. Daniel Blake is James Gandolfini's son, and he, at some point in the episode, had met BB at a club, and they wound up getting him drunk, and he accidentally released some information about Wilson and the sanitation department and a secret deal that they were trying to do. And when Wilson discovered the leak, he went a little nuts, and Daniel promises that this will never happen again. He'll do everything in his power to show that he can be forgiven. I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be a relationship that ends just much like the relationship that ended with Oz and his protege at the end of the Penguin show. So we'll keep an eye on that. We also see Muse also bringing a victim down to some sort of underground area, some sort of bunker. And for those of you who are not too sure about Muse, because this is the first time I'm interacting with the character and getting to know the character myself, his art, so to speak, is his way of self-expressing himself, and he uses his victims' bodies to form his art. He also has the powers in the comic books to disrupt Matt's heightened senses, and is able not to be shown on technology somehow being disrupted with his image and stuff. Throughout the last couple of episodes, we see his art across New York City, and it's starting to be signed more clearly by the Muse. And much like who's the Muse, who's going to be the Muse, I think that my initial thought on who the Muse is that gentleman who asked Matt's love interest to help him with therapy, so to speak. And I think that that's going to be the gentleman who winds up becoming the Muse. So his art, so to speak, has a very dark side to it. And it's going to be an interesting thing to see him and Daredevil have a fight down the road. But who's to say when that's going to happen? Also, we see finally Matt collecting the White Tiger's belongings along with the amulet. And him and the niece wind up having a conversation about how the system sucks and that there should be something more done in order to give her uncle justice. All right. We also see Matt being confronted by his new client, who is arrested for stealing Fiddle Faddle. Fiddle Faddle is a snack that's much like Cracker Jacks. And to show even the discrepancy between groups of people, the cop who arrests him for stealing the fiddle faddle starts eating the fiddle faddle himself and basically steals it himself. So how come the cop's not arrested? Is what the client said. And so Matt being confronted more and more about how there's inequality in the system that he claims and deems is so perfect, and has forgotten how imperfect it is, and is it purposely ignoring his pain and grief over what happened to Foggy. He winds up going to the Punisher because when he was investigating Hector's crime scene area where he was shot, he found a casing that had a Punisher logo on it. So Matt, obviously been keeping tabs on Frank, shows up, and him and Frank have one of their legendary debates, so to speak, about how he's ignoring Foggy's voice in his mind about uh, needing Matt to go back into the Daredevil suit. And he's like, I don't know how you can ignore that voice when in my head, all I hear is my son's voice saying, "Go get him, Dad! Go get him, Dad!" You know what I mean? So, that love that you have for people, that zest, that motivation you have to make the world a better place, especially when good people are taken down, and you may not find yourself to be a good person, but you have the power to change things and situations for the better. That's where Frank is like, I'll be that guy. I don't have to be a good guy. But what I can do is make things better for the good people that are in this world, because I have the stomach and the constitution to do it. And you, Matt, need to do that yourself. You need to get back up in the saddle. He's like, you talk about a duty, you run around like it's Halloween out there, where people like me and others served and have a purpose, have a motivation to really know a focus on what we need to do and why we need to do it. And again, Matt seems to be more and more cracking along the edges because he realizes that he has not done justice for Foggy. He hasn't really done justice for anybody outside of the day that Foggy passed away. The day he hung up the Daredevil mask is when Matt started not feeling, but fooling himself. He has yet to even say Foggy's name after the sentencing hearing. He has yet to even say Foggy's name. That's how much in denial he is about the whole thing. And when he finally cracks, it's going to be a really interesting sight to see, because how far will Matt go once he breaks, is going to be one of the major questions for at least me to come. What's going to happen between him and the Punisher cops? What's going to happen between him and the Muse? Will the Muse take out his current love interest? And will that be what makes Matt break? Hector's niece, I'm hoping winds up taking the mantle of the White Tiger. You let me know down below. I believe that the acting was really what carried this episode for sure. This cast has been phenomenal, and to get that Punisher, that Frank and Matt dynamic again. Charlie Cox and Bernthal have a really good chemistry together. Shane Bernthal wasn't initially going to be coming back because he didn't like how the Punisher was presented in the first round of writing. But the old people of the Daredevil show came back, and along with himself writing new scenes for the Punisher is what made him come back and do this. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Punisher plays out too for the rest of the season. There's still a lot of questions to be had and to be answered, and I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this season so far. Let me know down below. And until next time, peace, Nickums.